What's going on, party people, and welcome back to Crossplay, our video game podcast here at the Whatnauts. It is Sunday, July 26th, 2020, and this is episode 35. Coming up on today's show, we are going to be talking about the Xbox Games Showcase, Halo Infinite gameplay, and more. There was also a massive Nintendo leak this week, so we will be diving into a little bit of that. And the potential return of G4. All that and more coming up in just a bit. For now, my name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined, as always, by my friend Ignacio.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, dude?
Everything boring as usual. Again, it has been yet another uneventful week over here.
Yeah.
With quarantine and vacations.
Are you, watching TV shows that have been in your backlog or something?
Not really in my backlog. For example, I have been keeping up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which has been going on right now.
In the final season.
Yeah. And again, as always, great show. I have also been watching the new Digimon season, the new Digimon show, which has been going on. And then the other show that I have been watching is a show called Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma, which is an anime show, which a friend of mine wanted me to watch it for the longest time. So we made an agreement where I would watch the show and he would watch. Well, right now he's watching all of Digimon, like every season of Digimon. So
I don't think I'm familiar with that one. What's that one about?
So basically, it is an anime about cooking, and I know it sounds ridiculous. I always thought of it as something ridiculous, but think of it like Yu-Gi-Oh, but with better characters. Because Yu-Gi-Oh at its core,
very difficult.
Well, Yu-Gi-Oh at its core, you can basically say it is an anime about playing cards.
Right. Yeah.
So right now, Shokugeki no Soma is a show about cooking, which at first, of course, it would sound very boring, but then you start watching it, and it starts being less about the food or less about the cooking. Which still, it is a huge part of the show, but that's not the reason why you're watching. You're watching because of the characters and what they're going through, and the main character, Soma, trying to be the very best at this elitist school with so many other chefs and master chefs, and it's all about his journey.
Best, like no chef ever was.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, that's neat. That's interesting. A while back, we had Jams on the podcast. Jams Wilkinson. That is Melissa's brother, and Melissa hosts the Whatnauts review show and the Whatnauts Captain's Log with me. But at one point, he mentioned to me that he was trying to watch every cooking-related anime, or all food-related anime, and he recommended one to us that we ended up watching for the review show called Sweetness and Lightning. And it is the most adorable shit you've ever seen. It's about this father trying to learn to cook for his daughter, a year or so after their mom, his wife, had passed away. And he is like, oh man, I'm not taking care of my daughter because I can't cook. She's getting Lunchables each day. I need to fix this. And so he ends up taking cooking lessons from one of his students, and ends up learning to cook and just making these fantastic meals. It was adorable. So good stuff. I just finished up watching season 4 of Mr. Robot.
Oh,
is the
that's
last
still going
season of that show.
Okay.
That was the final season, which ended, I think, in December of this past year. So it's recently done. But we've been slowly watching that show for the review show. And Melissa and I recorded our Mr. Robot Part 4 this morning. So,
Did it end well?
yeah, dude, I fucking love that show. It I tweeted out, it was like, it starts out kind of wearing its heart on its sleeve, like its inspirations are like blatantly obvious, and it's still a great show. I think season 1 is phenomenal, but it's a little too obvious, where it's like, oh, this is just Fight Club mixed with V for Vendetta mixed with like Taxi Driver and stuff like that. But then in season 2 through 4, it just grows into something else entirely, and it is amazing. It is fascinating, and it ends up being oddly beautiful, because it's a really, really intense show emotionally. It's about hacking and all of that stuff, and trying to bring down this giant corporation, but the characters are all kinds of fucked up, and it's them also kind of learning to deal with that, and so it's just this like oddly beautiful show. It's good. But let's get on to some video games.
Let's talk about some electronic gaming.
Indeed. Ignacio, you've still been playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I'm still going through it. I mean, my thoughts are the same as last week. I'm really enjoying the game. It is pretty fun. I like the characters themselves. I like the Tsushima is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a minute where I don't go and suddenly I'm in a new landscape, and just everything is so beautiful, so colorful, and it's so distinct one area from another. And the gameplay is so much fun. I'm a big fan of swords in games and sword gameplay, so I'm glad that Tsushima, the gameplay really feels so good.
Yeah. Good stuff. Are you starting to get used to not having the lock on button now?
It's not that I'm getting used to it. It's that I'm just dealing with not having a lock on. I still want to have the lock on in the game, and I do think that there is a chance that Sucker Punch will sooner rather than later patch it into the game, because it's, I mean, a lot of people want the lock-on system. I think that's one of the criticisms that keeps getting brought up whenever I hear someone talk about Ghost of Tsushima, which is that the game is great, but it's missing the lock-on system. Yeah. And yeah, I wish it was there. I mean, I can deal with that lock-on system. It's still going to get in my way, not being able to lock on into an enemy.
Like, if nothing else, at least do something with the camera when you enter into some kind of like battle mode, where if your character does kind of get turned around, it will like fix itself. Just something.
Sure.
Because yeah, like that. Like I'm getting used to not having it. And I think last week I kind of mentioned, I was like, I kind of don't know if I want one anymore exactly, but there are still times when, yeah, you're like inside a building trying to fight, and it's bad. Or
your enemy is just behind the camera, not even in front, it's just behind them.
Yeah, or you get stuck like up against a rock or a tree or something, and it's just like, oh God, move, get out of the way. So, who knows? They'll do something. Are you in Act 2 yet? Are you still in?
Yeah,
Act 1?
I just got into Act 2.
Okay,
I thought it was weird.
1.
Oh, really? I thought it was weird that the game doesn't really tell you it is Act 2. It's not until you go into the pause menu that it says that you are on Act 2. Because I heard from someone that basically the acts are divided basically each act is a different castle. So I thought that, okay, I beat the first castle. I'm guessing now they're going to make this big deal about me going into the next chapter or the next act, and it being the next island and whatever. But no, it was just the story just kept going, and eventually I opened up the map and realized that I was like I think I was into the next area of the map. So I thought that was weird. Why would that be in Act 1? And then I realized, no, I'm just in Act 2 now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
so I thought that was weird, but yeah, I just got to Act 2. I think I'm going to focus a bit more on cleaning up the area from Act 1, I think. I'm not going to rush the game right now. At some point I did start to, because like I said before last week, I didn't feel like a rush to go through the main story missions, because I felt like every side mission was, in a way, I could see it being part of the main mission, especially because of Jin's his own mission, what he's going through. I could, like, in my mind, those didn't feel like side missions, but then I got to a point where I felt like I knew that there had to be more unlockables that I had to unlock through the main story. So I ended up just maining the game for a little bit right there. But right now that I got to Act 2, I think that I'm gonna take my time right now and go through some of the side missions that are still in the Act 1 area.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, I'm still in Act 1. I am still kind of taking my time, but like I've also been splitting my time between Paper Mario and Ghost of Tsushima. So I think this coming week I'm gonna, I think, maybe stick with Ghost of Tsushima and just buckle down and be like, okay, let's knock some of this out. But I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so I'm still in Act 1. I've done 3 of the things. Like, I just recruited the blacksmith. So I've kind of been down at the bottom of the map. Down there, that stuff was really cool. They're starting to introduce some more enemies. I'm starting to see more axe people coming at me. I've unlocked some more stances and stuff.
How many stances do you have?
Right now, I have 3.
Oh, nice. I also have 3. I'm
3,
halfway through getting the next one.
Okay, I'm like just starting on getting the next one. But yeah, I am getting used to switching stances on the fly.
Yeah, right.
Because it's one more thing to kind of keep track of like, okay, that's a sword guy, so I need this stance, and this is a shield guy, so I need that stance, and like I like it, but it's not a combat system I'm used to yet, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not used to having to switch stances all that much. Like, I played Yakuza mainly in one stance. And because that's kind of what you can do. Like, you don't necessarily need to switch your stances all that much in Yakuza.
Yeah, the stances in Yakuza were more... It wasn't tied to the type of enemy that you were fighting much. It was just more of the type of combos that you wanted to do, and if you wanted to be faster or stronger, or if you had a crowd of enemies, you might want to choose a different stance than for one enemy. Whereas with Ghost, it is more of a enemy to enemy thing. And you say that you haven't gotten accustomed to the system. I'm surprised how into the flow I got and how accustomed to the system I got, because at first,
because like I'm really liking it. It's just that I've never really played a game that I have to switch the stances, so I'm just forgetting. I'm like, why am I not like breaking this guy's shield? It's like, oh, I'm stuck on this spear stance. Yeah. It's like, all right, fuck, all right.
Yeah, whereas I'm like in the other side, because when you first unlock the other stance, to me it was so I don't know, the fact that I had to change the stance depending on the enemy and having to know where the stance was, that was like an extra step for me, something I had to think of. But right now that I have even 3 stances that I have to circle through them, it just became so natural to me, where I could have a spear enemy and a shield enemy and a sword enemy, and I could just, okay, I'm gonna focus on the spear guy, so I'm gonna switch stance right now. Now the shield guy, I'm switching it right now. Or the sword guy wants to attack me, so I'm gonna change it right now. And it became so natural to me, and I even have memorized where this stance is in the options, which button is each stance. So it becomes so natural to me, and I'm glad that I went from going from I was struggling with switching between 2 stances even to now I have 3 stances, and it's so natural to me, and I can keep the flow so well.
Nice, yeah. Hopefully I'll get there soon. I'm starting to get it and be like, all right, here's a good chance for me to switch and stuff. One thing I found myself doing is if I get into a standoff or something like that, and then I have to go attack the rest of the people, is I'm like immediately after the standoff running for the archers and just fucking them up, just like immediately beelining it and being like big attack, triangle, and it takes like two hits and they're done.
Well, that's because they are so annoying when you're trying to fight really someone and they just shoot arrows at you. I'm starting to do that. Just go for the archers first because they are the most annoying ones there.
Yeah, man, I'm still having fun. I'm enjoying it. One of the things I went and did is I unlocked the like perfect dodge thing. Which is it's like down at the bottom of the evasion skill tree, and it's if you happen to do a perfect dodge, it will leave the enemy open to like a one-hit kill thing. So I just got that one, and I was like, hell yeah, let's go, baby. I I do have to tell this one story though. So let me ask you this first. Do you have a gaming routine? Like, do you sit in the same spot, eat the same snack, or like sit the same distance away from the TV? Like, do you have something like that?
Well, I have a place where I play games, so I have the couch there.
Sure.
That's where the distance. I'm always drinking Coke Zero. So, yeah, but I wouldn't call it a routine. More like,
okay,
that's
like
how things are.
You have your like normal spot, right?
Yeah.
I have been playing most of this game in my bed. I'm just like laying back, and the TV is at the foot of my bed, and it's fantastic. It works great. And then I think it was 2 or 3 days ago I was playing, and for some reason, like I just decided to like sit up and move closer to the end of my bed, which means I was closer to the TV. And I don't know why, but that like fucked up my flow. Like I was like, my entire groove was thrown off. I did like 6 or 7 standoffs in a row and died every single time, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? I was so mad, and then I like laid back down, and I beat him, and I was just like, I guess that's it. Like,
it happens sometimes.
I should be in my lucky spot.
Yeah. It happens sometimes.
For sure.
It's so weird.
For sure. Well, let's see. Paper Mario. I've been playing some more Paper Mario. I have now beat the second Vellumental.
The one?
They're called Vellumentals. Vellum is a type of paper often used in origami, and yes, they're like these elemental spirits. But that's all I will say in terms of describing them because I don't want to spoil things. But yeah, they are some of the main bosses that you go fight. And I've got my second one down. I'm working on that second streamer. The whole kind of conceit of
Streamer?
The game.
What are you fighting, Ninja?
Pretty much. So the Origami King basically like takes Peach's castle, wraps it up in a bunch of like streamers and ribbons, like paper stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then he transports the castle, and all of these streamers are kind of like tied up throughout the land.
Oh, yeah, I do remember seeing that in the trailer.
Yeah, there's that scene where Mario is like running from all of that stuff there. Yeah, it's that stuff. So as you go about the game, you have to kind of beat these streamers. I mean, it's not really the streamers that you have to beat. There's bosses protecting them, but you have to like unravel these streamers throughout the Mushroom Kingdom, which will then unlock the castle by the end of the game. So I'm on my second one now.
These bosses are different from the elementals.
Yeah. Don't really want to say too much on how they're different or why you are doing that stuff without spoiling it yet. But it's basically you'll go fight a Vellumental, and then down the road shortly after you will then go fight the streamer boss, and that will do like each section of the Mushroom Kingdom has their own streamer you have to unravel. It's funny though because the second town is a theme park within the Mushroom Kingdom, and it's all like Japanese themed. So it's like I go from Ghost of Tsushima to Mario, and it's all everything is Japanese style. So good stuff there. But yeah, like I'm enjoying it some more. I'm finally starting to get more of the hang of the combat and stuff like that, especially with the bosses. It's still challenging, but it's like the right kind of challenging. Still difficult. It's still a little bit frustrating, but it's like enough for me to like set up and pay attention and stuff like that. So it's good. I'm enjoying it.
Good to hear.
Enjoying it a lot. But let's move on to housekeeping, unless you have something else that you want to share or ask me about Paper Mario.
I don't know.
No? Okay.
What else I could ask about Mario?
Let's move on to housekeeping then. If you guys did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, thewhatnauts.com. If you guys like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. At our $3 tier, we have a bunch of exclusive content from all of our shows that you can go check out. Melissa and I just recorded our third Patreon exclusive Reactor Core show, in which we were reacting to movie trailers from the 2010s. We've done one from the 90s, from the 2000s, and now from the 2010s. So that should be out very soon at the start of this next month. Be on the lookout for that. But we would also like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, so much for helping us out and for supporting us for so long. We love you and appreciate you tons. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Indeed. Last thing I want to say for housekeeping is thank you to all of the people so far who have reached out about potentially being a new host. I've had a number of you message me and stuff like that, and we've been talking and stuff like that. So if you are listening to this one, because I've kind of been like, hey, go listen to more of our shows. Let us know your thoughts and feedback. In the meantime, we'll kind of keep talking and stuff. I've been being like, hey, what do you guys think of that Xbox showcase, huh? So cool. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for reaching out, because we could absolutely use the help, and I think it would be fantastic to at least have one or two of you join the show so we can get a little bit more variety. And if, for example, someone gets sick, you can be like, hey guys, I'm sick, and then whoever else can continue the show. So that would help us out a ton.
Be able to miss a show and not have the show be canceled.
Indeed. Cool. That's it for housekeeping. So Ignacio, let's move on to the news.
Let's go.
Xbox had their big old game showcase this week.
Finally.
Ignacio, did you get to check it out?
I didn't end up watching. I didn't wake up early for that. I ended up watching a VOD later. Gotcha. So I watched most of it. I did skip some parts here and there, but for the most part, I watched everything.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah.
I woke up. I was at work, which was just me in my bed with my laptop, and I put on. Yeah, hard at work, right? And I put on Jeff Keighley's pre-show and was watching that stuff. But yeah, they had some interesting announcements and stuff. What did you think of the showcase overall? Think it was a good one, bad one?
I can't say I was that excited coming out of it, but I think that if I were more of an Xbox fan, I might be more excited for it.
Okay.
But seeing as I'm not that big of an Xbox guy, I didn't find much here to get excited about, especially when you compare it to Sony's own presentation last month.
Yeah, I think I would kind of agree. Like, I think it was a solid showcase. They had some good stuff, but I think at the end of the day, it didn't really wow me.
Yeah.
Like, with the PlayStation 1, I walked away being like, holy shit, Miles Morales? Fuck, yeah, I want to play that. Whereas this, I was like, cool. Like, Halo looks really good. I know a lot of people are excited for Fable. I'm personally not, because I haven't really played those games. And so besides Halo, like, there wasn't really much for me there.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me was that with everything that they show, I either had no interest on the thing, they didn't show enough to get me interested on it, I didn't know what it was, or some combination of that.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I think maybe one or two games I'm kind of excited about, or not excited, but intrigued at least.
Makes
but
sense.
Nothing that really was like, oh my god, I have to play this, or oh wow, this looks great.
Indeed.
But yeah, no, let's go through the list first.
Yeah, so we got a roundup here from PureXbox.com. This is by Fraser Gilbert. I'm basically just going to read these off bullet point after bullet point, and then we can kind of dive in after that. So in the pre-show, Dragon Quest 11S is coming to Xbox Game Pass in December. That was a cool one. Exomecha is a free-to-play first-person shooter coming to Xbox next year.
Which looks kind of... Oh, do you want to go...
I was just going to kind of go through all of these really fast to at least mention them, and then we can dive in after to if we have something to say. So continuing in the pre-show, turn-based adventure Echo Generation hits Xbox Series X in 2021. Hello Neighbor 2 is sneaking onto Xbox Series X. 3D action platformer Balan Wonderworld arrives on Xbox next year. And then on to the main show. They opened up with the world premiere gameplay of Halo Infinite. And then next up was State of Decay 3. That was announced for Xbox Series X. Forza Motorsport on Xbox Series X will be 60 frames per second with ray tracing. Rare gave us a closer look at their new game, Everwild. Tell Me Why, Chapter 1, which is the new game from... Take it away, Ignacio.
Ain't nothing but a mistake.
Chapter 1 of Tell Me Why will be out August 27th. Ori and the Will of the Wisps will be 4K and 120 frames per second on the Xbox Series X. Who knows if they can keep that number there, because that sounds gorgeous.
Yeah, and also it really depends on your own monitor or television if you can actually hit 120 frames per second.
Exactly. The Outer Worlds Peril on Gorgon releases September 9th. That is, I think, their first major DLC. Obsidian unveils their new fantasy RPG, Avowed. As Dusk Falls is coming to Xbox Series X. That looked like a kind of narrative adventure game, like a motion comic type of thing. Double Fine shares a new look at Psychonauts 2, which is also apparently starring Jack Black. And that will be coming in 2021. Destiny 2 hits Xbox Game Pass in September, which makes a hell of a lot of sense. And their Beyond Light expansion, which I think we mentioned last week, was recently delayed to November. So that will be coming in November as well. Stalker 2 is an Xbox Series X console launch exclusive. The dual reality trailer for Xbox Series X game The Medium. We got another look at that game. I think that's by Bloober Team. Same guys who did Observer and the recent Blair Witch game, too.
I don't know.
The Gunk is coming to Xbox One, Xbox Series X in 2021. That one looked oddly interesting. We'll circle back around to that one. Warhammer 40,000 or 40,000 Dark Tide is coming to Xbox Series X next year. Tetris Effect Connected is an Xbox Series X launch title. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis arrives in 2021. And we got a look at the campaign for the upcoming first-person shooter Crossfire X. Forza Horizon 4 Sea of Thieves will be enhanced on the Xbox Series X, and it's official. A new Fable game is exclusively coming to the Xbox Series X and PC.
Who would have thought?
There you go.
No one saw that
Wrapped
one.
it up. So was there anything from the pre-show that you wanted to mention?
I'm trying to look at the trailers that are here just to remember what
Dragon
each
Quest
game is.
11, Exo Mecha, Echo Generation, Hello Neighbor 2, and Balan Wonderworld. I think Balan Wonderworld is the one worth mentioning, because that's from a new studio from Square Enix. And this is their first game. I saw a couple people excited for that one. That doesn't really look like it's a game for me. But we'll see. The characters almost look like they were in Digimon, now that I think about it. Like really skinny arms and legs, and their heads were just slightly bigger.
Sure, yeah, I can see it. I mean,
Yeah.
This is a game that clearly is trying to evoke some nostalgia, because it really looks like, I don't know, PS2 era platformers to me. So I do think that if you're going to do that, the game could really be either hit or miss, where it could be really bad or really good and interesting. From what I'm seeing, there's a ton of variety onto what you're doing. So it looks like it could be a good game. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the feelings that it is trying to evoke. I do think that it could really be either hit or miss,
Sure.
especially when you're seeing more contemporary attempts to it. It really reminds me of A Hat on Time
Sure.
in a way, and I think that game came and went. Not many people talked about it.
Yeah, and I know Mick, the nanobiologist, was streaming that a while back when it came out. But yeah, I don't know if there was much in the pre-show that was necessarily for me. Dragon Quest XI looks good.
Yet another announcement for Dragon Quest XI. I think that
like,
it has been everywhere.
I heard something. I don't know if this is true. I might be really misquoting it, but I think Dragon Quest XI S, that is the like expanded one that was on Switch, right? Was that on other consoles too?
I don't know.
Or did they only put S on Switch?
No, I think it came out on PS4.
Maybe because for some
Didn't
reason, I thought I heard someone say that this was really strange because it's a port of the Switch one, which I don't know how true that is, but that was like, huh? What? Okay,
so here's a new story that says Dragon Quest XI S on PS4, Xbox One, and PC will be a port of the Nintendo Switch version.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, isn't Dragon Quest XI already a Nintendo Switch game? So it makes sense.
Well, yes, the 11S, which is the one that is coming to Game Pass, is already on Switch, and I think that's the one that.
But 11 is.
They have a
11 is at least
version.
on PS4.
Yeah, they have a regular version of 11, which does not have the like expanded content.
Yeah, no, that is weird.
Let's move on to the main show and all that stuff. We've got to talk a little bit about Halo.
Yep.
I'm excited. I think the gameplay looked really fantastic. I think it maybe went on a little bit too long, but it looked wonderful.
See, I cannot say that I'm very excited. I'm at least a bit more intrigued on the game, comparing it to before. But the reason I'm not excited is that it looked it looked a lot like Halo, which I know that's what a lot of people wanted. But as someone who just played Halo Combat Evolved and really didn't enjoy it that much, that's bringing it down for me. How much it feels like, or it looks like Halo.
You are so wrong.
No, man. People will see how right I am.
Whatever.
But
we are still looking for new hosts. I think we're gonna need someone else now that I've fired Ignacio.
Hey, you won't fire me. I'll fire you. But it looks like Halo, but there are some newer elements in there that make it more appealing for me. It did look more open than at least Halo Combat Evolved. They added some stuff in there, like the grappling hook, that it at least speaks to me. But other than that, it looks a lot like Halo. And to be honest, the Xbox Series X is being marketed as the most powerful console ever, and the game doesn't look that good, to be honest.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think for me, it is the thing of like having played the first 4 Halos. I haven't played 5 yet. As the series continued, it kind of got away from what I loved about the game. Like my most fond memories of Halo are playing Halo 1 and 2. And I think it is hitting all of the right nostalgia buttons. I'm wondering if they stole the grappling hook mechanic from Doom when they saw that when they were like, Doom now has a grappling hook, and they were like, man, we need a grappling hook. Master Chief had that. That's an interesting one. One of the things that I saw in there that not many people are talking about, I saw Alana Pierce mention it. They pulled a fastball special with one of the grunts. One of the brutes picked up a grunt that had 2 grenades and threw him at you, and there was this grunt like flying through the air, just being like, "Wah!"
I didn't know that was in there.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, was that a fastball special? Oh my god, this is great! I love this. Yeah. So I think that'll be fantastic. What game was it? There was something recently I think that I saw. It was Assassin's Creed, right? It was Valhalla, where they had like, and the like big bad guys will pick up the dead bodies of their fallen comrades and throw them at you. So that also seems to be a recurring theme, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
Gameplay-wise, what was there, it did look fun in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it is 343, which brought us Halo 4 and 5, which I haven't played, but I at least know I would say that's Halo fans' least like Halo games.
Yeah.
I'm still cautious about the work that 343 will do, on whether or not it will be a good game.
Bring up about that is they said a couple times that this is like the end of the trilogy, right? For the 343 games, and just in that wording, there's an odd kind of finality, right? That it really seems like this might be the last hurrah for Halo, and depending on how it does, maybe they'll make another one down the road. But it looks like this is gonna be basically it for a while. And they're gonna be supporting this one.
They talked about that, how they are looking at this Halo as not necessarily the last Halo game, but kind of like the last Halo game for now, in that they will keep supporting Halo Infinite for years to come.
Because I think the one thing that 343 did right was to start expanding the universe. I know so many people have such an attachment to Master Chief, but I think they have such a rich universe that it would be okay to play as another Spartan. I know it didn't necessarily work out in their favor, and they just haven't created that magic yet. But like it's like I don't know how this is going to play yet. Still, so
we'll see. I don't know. We'll have to see whether or not they can deliver on the game, if it really is the Halo game that will bring back the magic of the old days, or if it will be just another Halo 4 and 5 situation.
Yeah. Let's see. I think the biggest surprise of the showcase for me was State of Decay 3.
Really?
Why? I
weren't expecting another one?
I was not, no. Or I had at least not heard that another one was coming so soon, if that makes sense. Like, I was just like, oh, I haven't heard anyone talk about this one. So that was a big surprise.
But that could be because I wouldn't call State of Decay that big of a deal, or something that a lot of people talk about.
Would I?
So maybe that's why we haven't heard about anyone trying to leak State of Decay 3. But I don't know.
Interesting.
It wasn't a surprise for me. There wasn't anything that would tell me that there wasn't going to be another State of Decay game. And also, there wasn't anything really in that announcement that would get me excited. I am trying to not get excited about CG trailers that say nothing. That show you someone doing something and that's it, because that's not the game. After seeing that trailer, the game could be anything.
Yeah.
The trailer isn't telling you anything about the game. The game could be anything.
Indeed.
So I'm trying to not get excited about any CG trailer.
Was there something in here that surprised you, or something else that you want to mention?
I mean, we should talk about Forza.
Sure.
Apparently, Forza isn't going to be... It is very early on development. So it won't be available at launch and probably won't be available next year.
That's an interesting one, for sure.
Yeah, it is interesting because Forza is one of the main pillars of the Xbox, along Halo and like Gears.
Technical showpiece of just like, ooh, look how good this looks.
Yeah, and racing games have always been used as technical showpieces when you are debuting newer hardware, because racing games is something that the layperson can get their heads wrapped around. Everyone knows cars. Everyone has seen a car. Everyone has been inside a car. So that's always the best way to show.
Inside a car? Whoa, dude! Since when?
Oh, every day. I live inside one.
He's like, every day I'm hustling, Kyle.
Yeah,
get out of my way.
But yeah, I mean, racing games have always been technical showcases for newer consoles. So it is kind of weird that Microsoft isn't using Forza Motorsport or the next Forza to showcase their quote-unquote most powerful console ever.
Yeah.
And for it to not even be coming out anytime soon, that's also weird. If I'm not mistaken, we didn't get a Forza last year. And we're not getting a Forza this year. But before that, from what I've heard, Forza and Forza Horizon have been coming out pretty much each year. So trading years between Forza Motorsport. Or Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport.
I wonder if they kind of put the like internal stop on that of like, hey, we see everyone talking about all these sports titles and Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, of just like, we don't want these like yearly titles where not much changes or stuff like that. So I'm wondering if they're just being like, hey, let's take a little bit more time on this one and see.
Yeah, and I wonder if they, by taking their time, they might want to make Forza more of a platform rather than a game, an annual game.
Yeah.
That's something that we saw kind of with the last Forza Horizon, how they kept supporting it with DLC.
Different events.
Like the Hot Wheel
like
DLC or the Lego DLC or all of the other DLC. So that's kind of like the track that they're going, pun intended. But, so yeah, I think that them taking their time might be because of that, because they want to make it more of a platform that then they can add on into.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have much else to say about Forza.
60 FPS is ray tracing. That's all we know, apparently. Speaking of ray tracing, something that we didn't bring up, apparently Halo will not come with ray tracing. It will be patched on later on, which is weird. Odd. Yeah, it is odd that it won't be there day one. Again, for the Halo Infinite will be their showcase, their big game for the new console. And ray tracing has been one of the things that they have been talking about as one of the things for the console, one of the big elements of next gen. So it's odd that they won't include that on their big game right out of the gate.
It's odd indeed. Let's see. Next thing I wanted to mention was Tell Me Why. I'm really excited about that in game. I'm a big fan of Don't Nod. I loved Life is Strange. I thought Life is Strange 2 was phenomenal. It really showed that they kind of took that concept of do I want to go with this decision or that decision? And then they like matured it and not necessarily complicated it, but they built on top of it, right? So it's just a little bit more complicated. Whereas like you might choose to do one thing, but your actions also affect other people, and they might choose to do something else that then forces you into a situation that you did not want to go in. Stuff like that. And I thought that was neat. That like despite choosing one thing, the thing you wanted to happen might not actually happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited about that one. I didn't realize that was coming out so soon. That's going to be out August 27th. And
also
that'll be on Game Pass too. So
we also know that the because that will be chapter 1. The following chapters will come out fairly soon after.
I think I heard weekly.
Yeah, which is
amazing.
I mean, on one side, my question is, why wouldn't you release it all at once?
All at once, yeah. Like
because
I can see more like once a month, but
yeah, because if it is going to be weekly, clearly you're just splitting it up and making a staggered release. But on the other hand, I can see kind of like the strategy as to why you would delay the release of the game, because in a way, if for whatever reason someone gets intrigued by the game and decides to get it from Game Pass, and say you could only get the first 2 chapters on 1 month, but then you want to play the next chapter, but your subscription or your early trial won't last that long, maybe you'll now want to spend the extra money and get the other chapter. I mean that could be a reason as to why you would divide the game like that.
Yeah, and I think in terms of marketing, it's a smart thing to a degree, right? Where the chapters of the game will be in the gaming discussion week after week, right?
Yep.
So, good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm excited about Everwild. I still don't know much about it. That's Rare's new game, but I will keep an eye out on that one.
That's the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids game?
No, that's Grounded.
Which is
Everwild. Everwild is Rare's new game. It was like the dark forest with all the like weird looking creatures with like the beautiful neon colors, stuff like that, like the pastel neon, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I remember the one. I know, seeing this game.
So it looks to be interesting, but I still don't think we know much about it.
Yeah, no, we don't know anything about it. I don't think, because this is just cinematic.
Next up, The Gunk is the one that I wanted to circle back around to. This name, man, I don't think it's a great name, but it's one of those things that it's like it's so shocking that I like it. The Gunk.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it is a name that differentiates yourself and
exactly
makes people remember your name, or whenever you hear the name, like what I did, like The Gunk.
Yeah, that one should be coming out September of 2021. The little blurb about the game reads, "The Gunk stars a duo of gritty space haulers struggling to make a buck as they chance upon an untouched planet brimming with life. They've come to gather alien plants and other valuable resources, and it looks like they've hit the jackpot. As they start uncovering dormant secrets of a shattered civilization, however, they must save the planet from the curse of a corruptive gunk parasite, while desperately keeping from getting caught in a spiral of festering mistrust." I thought it had an interesting art style. It looked kind of comic booky. Like it just had the like right things to be like, I want to keep my eye on that one.
Yeah, it reminded me in a way to, what's it called? No Man's Sky, in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
From what I'm seeing from the gameplay, it looks pretty, but I'm intrigued as to what's what exactly are you doing there? What makes you keep going? What's the goal? What exactly are you doing right there?
Yeah. Last but not least, I think we should mention Fable once more.
Sure.
Have you played the Fable games?
No, I played the demo of one of the Fable games. I have no idea which one, and I
gotcha.
barely remember it. But
Yeah, I've
basically
seen
no.
some of my old roommates played the game, and it looked good. It looked fine. I'm just not a big like fantasy person. I don't like that genre as much. So yeah, I never really played the Fable games. I think this one I'm sure will be great. If that is your thing, if you like RPGs and you like fantasy and you like all of that stuff, I think it'll be phenomenal. But that's the thing, I don't know. It's also not really for me, so
Yeah.
hopefully you're excited if this is on your radar.
Yeah. I mean, same for me. I wouldn't say I'm not a fantasy guy, but from what I remember from what I played of whatever Fable it was, I can say it's not my type of game.
That makes sense.
It's not the type of game that I'm excited about. The other game that we should talk about is The Medium.
Medium,
Because
yes.
it looked interesting. So basically, the trailer showed you someone going through a building. I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe a psychiatric ward, maybe?
Sure.
I don't know. But yeah, basically, it showed you two planes of action. Basically, you're going through this place, but at the same time, there's like another plane of existence where everything
Reality
is
versus the spirit world.
Sure.
Type of thing.
Yeah, and on one world it's everything normal, and then in the other world it's all very creepy and weird, and I don't know how to describe it. But so apparently the game will have you going through or going back and forth between those worlds, and from what they said, they are basically rendering two worlds at the same time. Mm-hmm. So in a way, it reminds me of that level from Titanfall 2, where you're basically going from the present to the past, going through the same area on both, or that level from Dishonored 2, where you're doing the same. So it reminded me of that, and it felt like they are making a game around that. And I thought that was a pretty cool idea. And of course, this is also showcasing the power of next gen. How you'll be able to go through basically two areas, jump through them without any loading, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what I do have to say is that from what they showed there, I still don't get what you're doing and how exactly you're using the jumping from one world to the other one.
Yeah, it's still a little bit unclear. But
it felt like they showed that there are two worlds, but I still couldn't get how you connected them, how you went through one another, and how you used that mechanic.
So I haven't played any of this developer's games, but I was really interested in Observer, which I know is getting an enhanced version for next gen. So I know I'll be picking up that one because I'm a big cyberpunk fan, and that was a cyberpunk horror game thing. I was gonna try and pick up that one, despite the fact that I don't like horror games. But I would love to get on that. I heard decent things about the Blair Witch game.
Really?
I
heard bad things about the game.
Not much. Like it's not going to be like, oh, you need to play this game. It's great. It's amazing. But just like, yeah, it was fine. It was good. But yeah, so like I think this is a team that is at least fairly competent and confident in what they do and what they make, and I think I think their stuff is something to look out for in the future.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
for sure.
So.
Yeah. Hopefully they can nail the jumping from one plane to the other.
Indeed. Let's move on to our next news item. Let's jump into some more Ubisoft news. Ubisoft will not be charging more for the next-gen games. This is coming from Nick Stat at The Verge, who writes, Ubisoft has publicly committed to keeping prices for new games released on next-gen consoles this fall at $60. The company said in an earnings call on Wednesday. That diverges from the strategy of fellow video game publisher Take-Two Interactive and its subsidiary 2K Games, which are planning to charge an extra $10 for next-gen PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions of the upcoming NBA 2K21. What do you think about this?
Yeah, when the news first came out about 2K and how they will be charging $10 more for next-gen games, I think we all took it as this is the new direction. This is the direction that the games industry will go forward on. We all took it like that's how it will be. So now seeing that Ubisoft will not go that route, it now leaves it more in the air as to whether or not that will be what will happen.
Right.
Now I'm more confident in that there will be a fight, at least, from the side that will still keep the $60 and the side that will try and go for those $10 extra.
I think what makes this interesting is that Ubisoft, let me see if it says something about it in this article here. Blah, 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 blah. Is it? I don't know if it's in here or not, but it's they're making it seem like it's at least for the launch of stuff, that they're just like, hey, the initial stuff will be 60.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're going to change it midway through, that will be so hard to accomplish.
Now is the time to change it,
if
that's what you want to do.
The switch of generations, that's the point when you can try it. If you do it later, that will be so much harder. You will get so much bigger of a backlash.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I doubt it that they will change it. I mean, they could if more people come out saying that they will charge 70. So if Ubisoft ends up being the only one charging 60, I do see that maybe then they could change it to 70. But if that's not the case, I do think that will be such a hard fight to do it halfway through.
So on the other hand, Ubisoft is typically the publisher that likes to get on the, like, hey, we're making cross-gen versions of our game, right? I think they did that with Black Flag and Unity, I believe, was the one that was also on there.
No, they did. No. Black Flag was the game that came out, I think maybe a month before the PS4 and the Xbox One came out. But then the year after that, they made two games. Unity, which was an next-gen exclusive, and Rogue, which was a previous-gen exclusive.
Yeah. So I guess I'm wondering if they are going to do it only for the cross-gen games. Like, hey, these initial games that we have, they're most likely going to be cross-gen stuff. So if we just keep it at 60 for the initial, like, cross-gen stuff, because I don't know if they've had access, like how much access they've had to actually develop for the PlayStation 5 specifically.
I'm sure they have had their good time with it. I could see them.
I'm sure they've had it, but like, there's been stuff that we've seen, like the new Ratchet and Clank game, where it's like, hey, that stuff won't be possible on the PlayStation 4 or stuff like that, right? Like I'm wondering if they're just kind of saying, hey, for now, since this stuff is possible on all of them, like let's just keep it at 60, and when we do start to make stuff that is maybe more specifically only for the next gen stuff, then we'll raise our prices.
Maybe. I could see Ubisoft next year already coming out with games that are exclusive for next gen.
Yeah.
Like we saw last time. I could see Ubisoft do that. Especially because Ubisoft, more than any other publisher out there, is so willing to jump into newer hardware. Support newer hardware. Like Ubisoft is always, if you're getting out a new console, whoever you are, Ubisoft will be out there. Probably. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if by next year, at some point next year, we already are seeing Ubisoft games that are exclusive to next gen. But even if they do have games that end up being exclusive to next gen, I do think that that would be such a hard sell to tell people that they are charging more, even if it's only going to be next gen. If you already started charging $60 at the beginning, even if it is a year later.
It's still a strange move, so we'll have to wait and see what more of these publishers will announce as their prices. Moving on to number 3. Well, actually, before we get on to number 3, let me circle back around to Ubisoft. I didn't think it was necessarily newsworthy per se, but did you have thoughts on all this stuff coming out that a bunch of their management was like, hey, we don't want like female-led games or stuff like that? Like supposedly Assassin's Creed Odyssey was only meant to have Cassandra, and then they were like, women in games don't sell, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I'm a big dumb executive, and I don't know anything.
Yeah, it is a bit surprising to know that that game was meant to only star one character instead of two, because Odyssey, like the fact that you can jump between two characters, that's like a big thing for the game. So it is kind of like shocking to know that that wasn't meant to be, that they wanted Cassandra to be the main character. And then going back to Origins, how they wanted, was it Aya, her name?
Yes.
I think they wanted her to be either to have either a bigger role or have her be the main character. So yeah, it is a bit surprising that
he was badass too.
Yeah, it is a bit surprising to see people like that not that long ago to still think that you cannot have a female character lead a game because it will sell less. Because I think that by then that had been proven wrong. I would have thought that was the case.
It's been proven wrong so many times.
Yeah,
it's just absolutely bonkers that it's still happening. So
yeah, I mean, who knows what will happen next? Because now we have seen that they have changed their whole editorial team, and the higher ups that were in charge of all this. I mean, the highest of the higher ups that would have a say on this, he quit. So that it would be interesting to see how that will impact that. If we'll end up seeing now that, not Valhalla because that's already coming out, but the next Assassin's Creed, will that be a female-led game? Although I wonder if they can pull that now, since starting with Odyssey and now with Valhalla, they have been going through that, or they have been doing the whole, you can choose whether you're a man or a woman.
Yeah, it might not be the same for Assassin's Creed, but I think, if we do get a more, like whether it's a new IP or something, they just, they might make it, hey, there's a woman as the main character. I think now that they know they have that opportunity, they might start taking advantage of that. But I think for things like, well, I mean, depends, right? Because I think Assassin's Creed is definitely going in the direction where it's like you can make your own character, you can do this, you can be that, you know, like it's giving you more and more freedom. Whereas I think if they end up making a game that is maybe more narrative focused, then they can. I mean, like we haven't had a new Splinter Cell in forever, and one of the like prevailing ideas for that game is like, what if it's Sam's daughter? Because she's in that game, and instead of Sam being the one who's out in the field, it's his daughter, and Sam is the person in the chair. Like that would be amazing. And
yeah, but I can see
now
them getting a lot of backlash, especially because Sam has been popping up in every game other than proper Splinter Cell.
Sure, but
so
like
I do think there will be a backlash if now Splinter Cell does come back and you are not playing as Sam.
I can see that, but I think I'm so like starved for just a good stealth game.
Sure.
And if it nails the feeling of Splinter Cell, if Sam is still in there as like a main character, maybe not necessarily a playable one, like I feel like I would be fine with that, because having her or having his daughter be the next agent makes logical step. Like it makes sense in terms of sense. Like the next logical step for that. So who knows?
Who knows?
Okay, number 3. Massive Nintendo leak reveals early Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon secrets. This is coming from Patricia Hernandez over at Polygon, who writes, anonymous users on the internet bulletin board 4chan started posting files purporting to show source code and development repositories of over a dozen classic Nintendo games. From Super Mario World and a canceled Zelda 2 remake to Super Mario 64 and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In terms of what might interest an average person, the leak appears to contain source code for Super Mario Kart, The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past, and Yoshi's Island. I'm looking here on the article that Patricia wrote, and further down in there, they have a section that is titled, "So What If People Found?" And I'm going to read a couple of these off here. Apparently, for example, Super Mario World contains assets where it appears Luigi gives the player the middle finger. There are also a number of never-before-seen characters, like this mustachioed Yoshi. He looks like a grandpa. He looks like Yoshi, but with like white eyebrows and a mustache and a beard, kind of like Master Roshi. So he might be Master Yoshi. That would be great. I'd be like, "Wow, Peach, you're looking good."
Good.
Let's see. We got further confirmation that Mario is absolutely punching the hell out of Yoshi to elongate his tongue.
Oh yeah, but
for Super Mario 64, folks are showing off early levels like a castle, where Nintendo likely tested Mario's capabilities. There's also lots of like high-res Super Mario 64 screenshots coming out with like
an audio, which one of the audios that came out is the one where Mario defeats Bowser or throws Bowser, which, like, what? Have you played Mario 64?
Oh, yeah.
What does Mario say when he throws Bowser?
I don't remember exactly, but I remember it being like, what did he just say? Like,
that has been the one of the biggest debate out there in gaming as to what Mario says when he throws him. Because to me, he has always said, "So long, gay Bowser," and now a raw audio file for that came out, and it's clear that he's saying that, and it's so weird because Charles Martinet has come out to say that he supposedly was saying, "So long, King Bowser," But if you listen to the audio file, there's no way that he's saying that. So again, the leak just added fuel to the discussion.
Yeah. There's all sorts of like high res screenshots coming out, early like models of Link and stuff like that.
Look,
unused.
the most important thing that came out is that L is real, baby. Let's go.
That what is real?
L is real. Kyle,
L?
do you not know
one
of the biggest gaming mysteries?
I only know
L is
L
real.
from Death Note.
God, Kyle, have you ever been on the internet? Do you not know anything about
Not
about
on
gaming?
4chan though.
It's not 4chan. It's one of the biggest gaming secrets. Again,
What is
with
this?
with Solon Gay Bowser. L is real. Okay, so Super Mario, even Mario Bros, Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, all have had Luigi. But you get to Mario 64, and for whatever reason, Luigi is absent. So one of the biggest gaming mysteries of all time was, is Luigi on the game? And there's this one part on the game. It's a courtyard that has a statue of a star in between. I think it was a star. But it always felt out of place. And so that statue has a plaque that has stuff written on it. And it's not very high quality, so you cannot make anything out of what's saying. But one of the biggest rumors was that the thing said L is real and some numbers after that.
Weird.
And so everyone took that as it is a confirmation that Luigi is somewhere in the game. But no one has found him yet.
Well,
so
they found
again,
him now.
now we see that Luigi was in the game, so L is real, was real.
So, I do see a correction at the bottom of this article that says an earlier version of this article included a Super Mario 64 sound file that is a fan-made restoration and not a part of the leak. So I don't know if they're talking about good old gay Bowser, but it could have been that. Who knows?
But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff came out of this leak.
Yeah, and
it's so
it was
impressive.
massive, and they are still finding things.
Yeah, and that's the most impressive thing, how massive it is. How Nintendo kept so much of their old stuff to this day.
Yeah.
And I think one of the funniest tweets to come out of this was from Imran Khan. Again, everyone should follow him. It was that Square Enix, we lost our original source code for our old games, so it will take us a while to remake all these older games. And then Nintendo, no, we just kept everything from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
We have every source code, every file, everything. We still have it.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, it's so funny how they have all this stuff still.
Let's move on to story number 4, in which the U.S. Army retreats from Twitch. This is coming from Nathan Grayson over at Kotaku, which, by the way, shout out to Nathan Grayson. I recently started following him during the midst of all this pandemic stuff, because apparently he, I guess, lives or like splits his time between California and here in Richmond, where I am. So he's been at a lot of the like local protests and stuff that have been happening here in Richmond, and he's been like keeping people up to date on all of that stuff. So thank you, Mason, for your service there.
Mason, you combined his name and the same.
Did I? Thank you, Nathan, for
Nathan
keeping
Grayson,
us up
not
to
Nathan.
date. Yeah. So the U.S. Army. Nathan writes, the U.S. Army has dealt with sustained backlash over the past few weeks against its recruitment-oriented Twitch channel, which has banned viewers for asking about war crimes and hosted supposed giveaways that just dumped people out onto a recruitment page, which the Army has since claimed that it did enter viewers into a competition through other means, but which Twitch nonetheless forced it to stop running. Now, in response to this, it looks like the Army is putting a halt to all Twitch activity, at least for the time being. I kind of saw this one bubbling up in the background the past couple weeks, but I didn't think it was enough worth mentioning until now. Of just they've been running giveaways and competitions that to sign up it takes you to their recruitment page, which is shady as fuck.
Yeah, super shady.
Yeah, and then the thing about PR and stuff like that is, yes, part of your job is to kind of control the conversation. I get that. But I think, man, in the time we're in right now, especially here in the United States, in the midst of all of these Black Lives Matter protests, when people are coming into your Twitch chat and wanting more information, being like, hey, what's up with all these war crimes, whether it be about legitimate war crimes that the U.S. has committed in actual wars, or it's stuff that has happened in these protests, and them just straight up banning people for that. People are literally coming to you looking for an answer, and they're just being like, nope, you get nothing.
Yeah, to me, this is clearly some PR or marketing branch of the U.S. Army that saw potential on Twitch.
Yeah.
So
where are all those they're young kids? They're not hippity hopping no more.
Exactly. We need more soldiers. What are the kids doing these days? They got their Call of Duty. They will want to. We can we can have them come our way. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm guessing they didn't put that much effort in there, and if I'm doubting that if you are a part of the U.S. Army and you are whatever employee of the U.S. Army and you have people coming to your Twitch chat and asking about war crimes, I mean, at first I doubt that they were actually wanted to discuss war crimes as opposed to
for sure
just
trolling,
throw it in your face and, hey, you are monsters and you did all this stuff. I doubt they were looking for a conversation. They were more looking at shaming the U.S. Army and showing how all the bad things that you are. So maybe that's why they didn't have the right people there to deal with that. So their default thing was to ban them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, the headline is so funny. The U.S. Army retreats from Twitch.
Yeah.
And also, it's funny how this came out a couple of weeks after Donald Trump got suspended on Twitch.
Yeah. Yeah, he had his 2-week suspension. But yeah, I mean, it's wild stuff, man.
It's something shitty that the U.S. Army did.
Absolutely.
How they tricked people into signing up to something like that, to an army.
Absolutely.
It's so shitty.
Yeah.
I'm glad
number
that
5.
They retreated.
Oh, you had something else to say?
No, just that I'm glad that they retreated, that they were defeated by the internet.
Yeah. Number 5, G4 teases a 2021 comeback. This is coming from Matthew Olson over at US Gamer, who writes, first released via IGN as part of Comic-Con at Home, the short video I guess J4 posted a short video this past week that announced its comeback to the world. After some slow pans through a warehouse filled with geek sundries and G4 in-jokes, the camera pulls up to reveal a TV playing a game of Pong that's gone on for a very long time. It glitches, we see the G4 logo, a card for 2021, and a new tagline, "We never stopped playing." Pretty creepy if you ask me. That's not the full extent of today's rollout for the revival, but other concrete details are nowhere to be found at the moment. The once defunct Twitter accounts for Attack of the Show and XPlay have both shared the video. Various former G4 hosts have made vague tweets in reference to the reveal, and entertainment outlets like Variety got pinged with a jokey press release that contains no substantive information. Ignacio,
Yep.
what are your thoughts on G4?
So I, of course, never watched G4 because I don't think we ever got G4 over here. And so I only know about G4 from what people on the games industry and gaming personality and whatever have said about G4. And so my question is, in what shape will it come back? Will it be another TV channel? Was it a channel?
Yeah.
So I don't think you can do that right now, and because maybe back in the day when you didn't have many outlets to get stuff, video game stuff, and people talking about video games and making video games a big part of their message, that wasn't a big thing back then. But right now you can find that anywhere on the internet and on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So the novelty there isn't there anymore, and also people have stopped watching TV in the way that they did before. Right. So I wonder in what shape G4 will come back, and can it come back? Can it be a success?
Well, this is an interesting one because a couple months ago we got news of Ven TV, which was basically trying to do the same thing. We'll circle back around to Ven TV in our upper runners, but G4 for me was an interesting one. I on one hand definitely have some nostalgia for it because it was the place that allowed me to watch E3 back in the day. I got to see all of the coverage through G4, and I got to watch it on TV. However, it was also kind of my introduction to porn.
What?
Yeah, so I mentioned this on the Captain's Log as well because I thought this was just a wild story.
Please explain.
There was this show on G4 called Unscrewed, and it was like a late night tech talk show. And one of the bits that they did every so often was reviewing a porn performer's website. And they would go to the website, they would show it off, they would sign in, they would show some of the pictures and the pages and all of that stuff. Of course, it was all censored for TV, but they were legitimately reviewing the websites. And it was wild. And that's the thing, like on their website, they would give you links to these websites and sample pictures. And so little old Kyle was going to these websites being like, man, these girls are beautiful. They're not wearing anything. What is going on?
So funny that was your introduction.
I mean,
I guess if you're that old,
it was not my actual
you didn't have the
introduction, but it was one of them. Just like, I can watch this show, and they show me these websites. I'm in, and so like that. Something like that is not gonna play well today, and from the stories,
for sure that won't come back. I can guarantee that won't be a thing now.
And from the stories I've heard of, like behind the scenes stuff, it wasn't good there. Like the culture was not good. It was filled with sexist stuff and misogynistic stuff, and just like from what I understand, it was not necessarily a great place.
Yeah, I don't think that this will be like trying to bring back all of G4. I do think that if they are going to do something with that, it will be more like bringing back the idea of G4,
brand.
or not necessarily the brand, but the idea how G4 is supposed to be this video game TV channel that you talk about video games. So that's something that you could bring back, and you could bring in talent. I have seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about how they want their own show
Xavier
in
Woods.
there. Yeah, Xavier Woods is
campaigning. He's like, let me host anything and everything.
That would be great. I mean, that could be big for them if they could get Xavier.
That would be good. It's again, especially in the midst of all of the Black Lives Matter protests. Like, this is the time to start lifting up their voices instead of just being like, "Hey, Greg Miller, we love you," but like,
no, I would still love to have Greg.
I mean, yeah, I'd still love that too. But like, that's the thing. Like, I think this is like. This specifically, stuff like this, has a great opportunity to completely reform their image and highlight people of color, highlight women, highlight all sorts of marginalized voices. I saw Steven Spawn being like, "Hey, let me host something, and we can talk about disabilities and accessibility within gaming." Stuff like that would be amazing.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, especially if they want it to be a TV channel compared to they want it to be a network of YouTube channels, or what they want to do. I think that will, more than anything, dictate the kind of content that they will have in there.
Indeed.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what it will be. Yeah, Xavier Woods would be a great get, because he knows his stuff, he knows his video games. He's also a big personality, a great personality, a great host. So that for them could be a big get. And also he's such a big name with the WWE.
Indeed. That about wraps us up for all of our big stories. Let's go on to our new and notable section. It's gonna be a real short one. First thing, Yakuza Like a Dragon will be released this November in the West.
Finally, we're getting at least the month that it will come out.
Yeah, which we kind of knew it would be a launch title for the Xbox, right?
Yeah,
isn't that what they said?
Yeah, I think that they said that it will be there at launch, but the question would have been if for PS4 it would come out before that.
Okay, so
that was a question. So now we at least know that the game will come out in November. Well, whether or not it comes out on PS4 before, I don't know.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because both Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Cyberpunk are coming out in the same week in November. This is now coming out also in November. We're starting to get more information, and there was something going around this month that I would say take as a grain of salt, but apparently someone did an interview with a Microsoft executive in which they asked them if Xbox is still on track for its November holiday release, and they said yes. And then Microsoft came back to comment, being like, "Well, we haven't confirmed a date yet." So it was one of those things where they tricked them into being like, "What about the November release? Are you still on board for that?" And they're like, "Yes." So,
yeah, I think chances are it will be in November.
Same here, yeah.
But Watch Dogs Legions comes out on October 29th.
It does, yeah.
Oh, God.
Which that
Yakuza is a long game. Kind of a long game. I would say like 20 hours at least.
And November is going to be packed. It'll be wild. Don't know what so, yeah. That's that one. And then next up, Samurai Jack Battle Through Time is coming out August 21st on all platforms. So if you would like to go back to the past, Samurai Jack.
You gotta get back to the past.
Back to the past.
Samurai Jack.
Indeed. So that'll be a good one. Be on the lookout for that. But that does it for our new and notable section. So let's go on to our last section, the upper runners. Okay. Okay, first up, NIS America will no longer be publishing the Danganronpa games, and they've been pulling them from the PlayStation 4 and Vita stores. Spike Chunsoft, the game's developer, will be handling the publishing from here on out for that
Weird.
IP.
Why?
Yeah, it's
I wonder why.
an interesting one. I don't know when they will be back up on the stores.
Yeah,
Hopefully
and
soon. Heard good things about those games.
Yeah, people like Danganronpa. Didn't we hear something about some news about Danganronpa? Was it a new game? A new show? No, I guess it already has an anime. Was it a new game? I'm sure we heard something new about Danganronpa. So they're pulling the games out of the stores.
It might have been a collection. I kind of remember something at the start of the year.
You know what? It could be like a mobile collection.
Maybe.
For the mobile.
Maybe something. Yeah. Next up, the French Union is preparing a collective lawsuit against Ubisoft amid their abuse allegations. So just if you guys want an update on that stuff, looks like people are prepared to sue. Something. The streamer Zero was banned from Twitch over sexual misconduct allegations. I have no idea who Zero is. I don't know any of these
funny
streamers.
Enough, Zero is from Chile.
From Chile? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's from your backyard there.
Yep.
You gonna go over there and shake your fist and be like, "Well, what were you thinking, young man?"
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, so more sexual misconduct allegations continue to come out here in the games industry. But next up, new concept art for the Anthem reboot, I guess it is, apparently shows Sky Pirates. So if you guys are interested in how they're trying to revamp Anthem, apparently Sky Pirates might be one of the answers.
Apparently that's still the plan to kind of reboot Anthem.
Still working there. I mentioned earlier that we would circle back around to Ven TV. That this was the kind of 24/7 streaming channel. Not necessarily TV, but just like YouTube, Twitch. You guys can find it pretty much everywhere. They announced a new show called Gray Area, hosted by Sasha Gray and Dumbfounded, a rapper.
I get it because of the name.
Yeah, Gray Area. It seems to be an advice show. Just like, hey, you can ask them questions and they will respond. And it's
weird that this is the first show that they announced for their gaming.
I don't know if it's the first one they announced, but it's the first one that caught my attention because I follow Dumbfounded on Twitter and stuff. He's a great rapper. But he's been streaming on Twitch for a while. He does a couple different shows. And then I know Sasha has also been streaming on Twitch for a while too, if you guys haven't seen her other work.
Yeah, she has been trying to get away from, or not trying to get away, but starting to do newer stuff.
Yeah, which then is interesting for this because it's in kind of an advice show where you are allowed to ask questions and write into the show, and they will cover all sorts of topics on the show.
So that she is a good pick for that.
Yeah. Like I'm okay with that. I'd be interested in hearing what she has to say, but you have to know that a lot of people are just gonna be writing in about sex stuff. Which, let's be honest, people need to be more educated on anyways, especially the porn industry, because there's a lot of bad things that happen in there, and a lot of it is very fake. That is not how sex goes. So, But last but not least, let's end on some Sony news. Ghost of Tsushima sells 2.4 million copies in 3 days, making it Sony's fastest-selling original IP.
Yeah, which I guess would put it above Horizon.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would, because it's the fastest. This is like when you see a commercial for a new movie, or like 5 different new movies, and they all say we're the #1 movie in America.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, how, like, what metrics are you using? And it's stuff like this. It's like, this is our fastest selling original IP.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that's why I'm saying it's now above Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Because other than that, I don't know which one would be above that, because God of War, Spider-Man, and I don't know what other game. Last of Us wouldn't be in that category.
Yeah. Good on them, though, because that's still a lot. So.
And also, it seems that it has been selling really well in Japan. Stories have been coming out how they have been selling out of physical copies in Japan and how they need to print more.
I saw, I think it was Naibel tweet about that, and he linked to a Famitsu thing, but it was all in Japanese, and so I was just like,
you don't read the Japanese?
I can't.
Man, why do I have you
Ignacio, I'm pasty McPale white man over here. I wish I could read Japanese or like understand it, so I could just watch anime without the subtitles. That'd be great.
Again, understanding a bit of Japanese does make playing Tsushima a bit frustrating, knowing how the subtitles don't match what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go. Good for Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Ignacio.
Yep.
What are you hoping to dive into this week?
Hopefully, keep exploring Tsushima.
Yeah.
Seeing what's out there and probably kill more Mongols.
You got any like TV shows or books or something else you're hoping to dive into? Something else you're excited for?
Again, the same that I talked at the beginning of the show. Gonna keep watching Food Wars, Shokugeki no Soma.
Okay.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still coming out weekly. Digimon still coming out weekly. Other than that, no. Again, it would be yet another boring week.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think I need to kind of make a decision and not split my time between Ghost of Tsushima or Paper Mario. I kind of want to do Ghost of Tsushima, but we'll see. They're both good.
I do think that there is a good way to dedicate time to both games at the same time. I mean, at least the way that I do it is that whenever I have a game to play on PS4 and a game to play on the Switch, I will, whatever time I get to play on the TV, I'll play the PS4 game, and then whenever I'm in bed, or the Switch is a perfect console for the bathroom, then there I will spend time with my Switch. So I think that there is a good way to split your time.
Yeah,
there
absolutely is. I just have a lot on my plate between all of the podcasts and stuff. I don't have much time, so it's like the little time that I do have, sometimes I just want to make progress in, because otherwise I'd be like, well, it's now like February of 2021, and I'm still playing Ghost of Tsushima and Paper Mario, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean,
I'm
excited
for all that.
You could just put a hold on Paper Mario and just play Tsushima now, because it's not like there's anything coming out soon.
Yeah. Well, I think August is Tell Me Why, which I'm excited for. I think August is also Tony Hawk's. Is that right?
Is
that
it?
September?
No. I think September, because I have my calendar right here where I have the games that I want to play. And to me, August is just barren. I have nothing either.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe Tony Hawk. Or is Tony Hawk coming out with Crash? No
idea.
Crash is coming out with the Star Wars game. and that's September. No,
Okay.
October.
Good stuff.
But yeah,
Good
August
stuff.
is very barren for me. I don't know about you.
Well, that being said, I think that about wraps us up for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So we will get out of here. Go like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. Sell your soul. Tell a friend. Tell a foe. Do whatever you need to do. Again, I know we don't do a video podcast for the show, but go follow us on YouTube because we put all of our podcasts up there, and our other shows are video podcasts. I think right now we're sitting at 82 subscribers, so we are inching forward to 100.
Close.
Yeah, so if we could reach that, that would be wonderful. And yeah, that is it. This has been episode 35 of Crossplay. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
You can find me on Twitter at Ignacio Rojas B. You can find Kyle at Yo Kyle Springer. You can follow us at the Whatnauts and go to thewhatnauts.com. Go like, share, and subscribe. And I don't know, do you have anything else to say?
My brain is
until next time.
fried, man. My brain is fried. Yeah, go do all of that stuff. I will plug our Twitter at the Whatnauts on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with all of our shows. But that's it. Let's get out of here. We'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed that one. Leave a comment down below which games from the Xbox showcase caught your attention. We'd love to know what you guys thought. In the meantime, go subscribe to our channel, which is right up here in that corner, and go watch one of our other podcasts right down here in that one. That would help out a lot. We have a lot of content for you to check out and a lot more things to listen to and watch. So hope you guys enjoy that as well. Until next time, though, bye.